to Alexandria House's annual Women's Speak event. I've been involved with Alexandria House since before we even opened our doors, nearly a quarter of a century ago. As part of the Alexandria House community, I've painted rooms, I've filled out Section 8 applications for families, I've raised money, and I've even delivered a baby. Throughout all these years, Alexandria House has provided crucial services and resources to women and children experiencing homelessness, and to our neighborhood as well. Today, we are continuing to stand as one community, even in the midst of these challenging times, and the need is even greater than ever. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll be bringing you highlights of our work and the people who partner with us to help us help others. And for those of you who would like to share this event with others, the video will remain up after today, so please spread it far and wide. This is our main fundraising event, and we're so glad we were able to adapt our program to bring it to you, and still have a platform so that those of you who can give can do so. We understand that these are really difficult times, and we want to make sure that all of you know that you're welcome and that there are so many ways to support us. Please know that every donation that you make of any size is deeply appreciated, and it goes toward furthering our mission. For every donation that's made, no matter what size, we'll enter you into a drawing for a lovely gift basket, so I'm hoping that's another incentive. Our goal here today is to raise $50,000. You can go to www.alexandriahouse.org/womenspeak to donate. And please share and encourage others to give by typing your pledge in this live chat box for the video. We encourage you to also use the live chat to comment on the program and to engage with other viewers. We're trying to make this as fun as we can. So next, I'm turning it over to our board president, Caroline Fitzgerald, who will say a few words on behalf of our board of directors.
Hello, and welcome to our annual Women Speak. My name is Caroline Fitzgerald, and chair of the board of directors. And on behalf of the board of directors, the staff, and the entire Alexandria House community, I want you to know that your participation and support means so much to all of us. As you may know by now, Alexandria House recently experienced a terrible fire in one of our two houses. The second and third floors, in addition to our kitchen area, were badly damaged. We are blessed that the 5 families, including 12 children under the age of 10, were able to get out of the house quickly, safely, and no one was hurt. These displaced families are now living off-site in short-term housing, and we continue to provide them with supportive services. In other good news, the structure is sound, and we will be able to restore and renovate the house in a timely manner. Already reeling from the impact of COVID-19, we have been struggling to meet the needs of our residents, both current and past, as well as the needs of many of our neighbors. The growing population of those experiencing homelessness has grown at an alarming rate, and more people are calling or coming to the door, requesting and seeking help. These are very challenging and unprecedented times. While the pandemic has affected each of us in some way, the most vulnerable in our community will bear the brunt of whatever happens next. So let's take a moment to appreciate everyone here for your own good hearts and loving support for Alexandria House. At a time when we are witnessing a lack of empathy and heartlessness in so many areas of our lives, let us remember not to give in to despair, and to remember that goodness and kindness will prevail. Again, thank you for your support to Alexandria House. Without you, we could not do this, and we continue to look forward to serve the homeless women and children of Los Angeles. Thank you.
In response to a grant request from the XX Fund, we partnered with emerging filmmaker Carissa Lynn to create the video you're about to see, featuring anti-human trafficking activist and past resident of Alexandria House, Ima Matul.
Human trafficking is not just happening overseas. It is happening right here in our backyard.
She's just a warrior, she's just fighting. She had inspired me to be strong and fight for what is right.
Not understanding and knowing what, workers' rights, what's my rights. For me, whatever that they tell me, it's normal. It's very common.
My name is Judy Vaughn, and I have had the privilege of living and working here at Alexandria House since the very beginning. We opened in 1996, and so we're celebrating our 21st year. And most important for me is having just the opportunity to meet amazing women who are committed to making a life of safety and quality for their children.
Well, through the Alexandria House, we have various programs. So it could be parenting, it could be counseling, it could be computer literacy, language literacy, financial literacy, workshops that are based around art, celebrations, whatever the house have to offer. I think, we offer that to Ima as well.
If I would have seen my trafficker somewhere in the public, I wouldn't be afraid. Now I know my basic right, as a human being, I know that they can't do anything. I feel like without them, I don't know where I would be today. I'm forever grateful for them. The best thing that I can do is to give back.
I'm excited to introduce to you our first featured speaker for today's event. Kiana Scott is a mother, lifelong learner, full-time worker, business owner, author, and activist. I like to think of her as a whirlwind of action whose drive and persistence makes it hard to say no to her. In and out of foster care since the age of 4, Kiana aged out of the system at 18. She was homeless for more than a decade despite being employed the whole time. In December 2018, Kiana was featured on National Public Radio's Morning Edition to share what she wrote in an open letter to LAist in response to an article they published on NIMBYism. The letter led to a 5-minute piece on NPR, aired nationwide, that solely features Kiana, and I really urge you to look it up and listen to it for yourself. With the help of Alexandria House board member Kim Fay, Kiana published a memoir called Viewers Discretion Advised, available online at Amazon and at Barnes & Noble. And it tells the story of a life beyond the statistics. Her most recent endeavor was running for Congress in the 34th District. Even with the odds against her, she decided to launch a campaign that gave her a platform to help those experiencing homelessness in our community and beyond. One of the pillars that Alexandria House stands on is to empower our past and current residents to speak truth to power. We are thrilled that Kiana is able to share with us all today her perspective and a bit about her path.
Hi, my name is Kiana Scott. I am a past resident of Alexandria House. I lived there in 2017. Since living there, I've gone on to self-publish a memoir and run for Congress. I also wrote an op-ed that went viral in 2017 as well. When I think of justice, I don't think of it independent from my life. I think that everything that I do, even my existence, is intertwined with social justice because of how great my life has been impacted by systemic failures or even systemic successes. So it's hard to see justice as something independent from myself. Growing up in foster care and looking at it as like, one person will look at it as, oh, this is an isolated incident. This individual went through foster care and then all of these things happen. But it goes farther than that. It's generational, because my father actually was in was in a form of foster care through the juvenile justice system. My mother was in foster care through KinGap, which is where you stay with a relative. And then here it was, this first generation of them coming together, I ended up in foster care. And then being in foster care and not being equipped to be able to successfully transition from childhood into adulthood, that's all systemic. And it's not a unique problem to just myself. This is something that happens for hundreds of thousands of people, not just in California, but across the world. I think that having that sort of awareness or that self-awareness, it's my obligation to do something about it and to articulate or to point out the failures of the system so that we can continue to just improve things for people. It's necessary for us to be able to look at our own experiences in life and not see them as isolated incidents, but go do the hard work of tracing it back to the root of where the problem started, and then being able to look at that and then look at where we are presently and then look at where we want to be in the future, and then try to course correct those things so that history doesn't repeat itself, because history does not have to repeat itself. But you have to be very intentional about not repeating the cycle, and in order to not repeat the cycle, you have to be aware of what the cycle actually is. And I think for me, being involved as a social justice advocate, or anything that I've done really, is just a part of who I am, and kind of course correcting my own lineage for generations to come after me, and just having that level of understanding. I got asked the question earlier today about why I've taken such big steps, and to me they don't seem big. It's like it almost feels like the natural thing to do. It would be unnatural for me to not say something when I see racial and social inequality, like when I wrote the NIMBY piece. It would be unnatural for me to see people protesting the existence of people who are disenfranchised and not be like, hey, you don't have the whole story. Let's open up your perspective and open up a conversation about this. Let me help you see what the reality is. That wouldn't be a natural thing for me. Even as a child, I was involved in protesting. I held my first protest at 12. So saying something and speaking up for people, myself included, has always come natural to me. So I don't feel like anything that for me, anything that I do is not this huge feat. It just feels like the natural thing to do and the right thing to do. And I think that it can be the natural and the right thing to do for anyone when you become intentional about improving quality of life for everyone. And that starts with self-identification and self-awareness, because you have to be aware of your own privileges regardless of your race, because there are privileges within race. There are privileges to whatever gender you're born. There's privileges that extend beyond race when it comes to your socioeconomic background. There's privileges that you have when you're born in a one-parent home versus a two-parent home. And all of these things have to be looked at, and you have to look at how they have shaped your life and how they have shaped your views of the world and what reality what realities are for different people, because we like to think that there's one reality, but there really isn't. Everyone lives in their own reality, shaped by their own experiences. And so we have to be aware that people exist outside of the reality that we're most familiar with, and then taking the uncomfortable step of introducing ourselves into their reality so that we can understand and figure out how we can use our privileges, how we can use our gifts and our talents to better, to affect someone else's reality for the better. And I think that it starts with yourself and an understanding of yourself, because you can't understand someone else's plight. You can't understand what someone else's reality is or looks like, or even be open to it until you understand yourself. And then you move from that place into understanding someone else. Because sometimes when you're confronted with the realities of someone else's existence, you can become offended, or you can have guilt. You can feel bad for where it is that you came from, just because your reality is different. And so it takes, because you weren't aware of it previously. So if you become self-aware first before you help someone else, when you're confronted with that reality that is different from your own, you won't be offended by it. And you'll be like, okay, I know that this is different. Now, how do I move forward? And I know that I had different privileges. Now, how do I move forward? How do I share the privilege that I had? How can I use what I have to make something better for someone else? And that's literally, to me, all justice is taking what you have, like being self-aware and taking what you have and using it to make things better for someone else. Writing, it happens to be a gift of mine. So I took it and I wrote an open letter to try to make things better for other people, myself and other people as well. Writing a memoir, again, writing is a gift. Taking that, sharing my story so people know that they're not alone. Running for Congress, I have a gift of being able to speak. And using that to speak truth to power, even though I didn't win, everything that was said, every issue that was brought to attention simply by me running doesn't go away, and they have to be addressed. That's also making a change for other people. And we also have to embrace the uncomfortability of making change, because anything that changes is uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable for us, but then it's also uncomfortable for the systems that we're provoking to change. So we have to embrace the uncomfortability of change or seeking justice, and recognizing and always being in truth about what that looks like, and reassessing ourselves, because just because there's a racial inequality, just because there's socioeconomic disparities, doesn't mean that you are the person that is qualified to fix these things. Just because you see them and you may be aware of them, and recognizing your own limitations in that, because that is okay. But you have to be able to identify those things. And so constantly reassessing is like, constantly doing a reassessment and self-awareness is also necessary. And I think that that has motivated me to continue to see justice and seeking justice as a part of my life. And it's why I do what it is that I do.
I want to say thank you to the amazing Alexandria House staff for their commitment to the Alexandria House community. And now some of the staff will be sharing their stories, how they are meeting the needs of the times.
My name is Madison, and I work with the past residents at Alexandria House. One thing that COVID-19 has really reminded me of is just how strong our community is. At the beginning of this pandemic, there was a lot of uncertainty. How long this would last, would jobs be safe, how to homeschool kids and keep them focused in this new learning environment, how to find help to pay for food and bills. This was a new process for all of us, so we really had to take it as it came. I helped past residents file for unemployment. We were able to get laptops and iPads for kids to do their schoolwork from home. And we were able to set up a system to get food to families who needed it with the help of some donors and volunteers. Ways of getting groceries, there was a lot of barriers that came up throughout all of this. A lot of families depend on schools to provide breakfast and lunch. Public transportation became a bit of a safety concern, and a lot of people were working with a less of an income or no income at all. We also had families who needed assistance paying for bills, and I was able to connect them with amazing organizations and donors who offered financial help. Besides the tangible needs, there was a lot of people also missing the connection and community that Alexandria House is known for. To help remedy this, I have been posting icebreakers and quotes and meditations on our alumni Facebook page for people to chat and get to know each other a little more. We have also had crafting via Zoom, hosted by volunteers, and we hope to add on even more meetings of new languages and new skills that people are willing to share, and also get our book club running over Zoom. Even through this new learning process, this is what I'm so grateful to our past residents for, that we've been able to keep up this connectivity and community even through these hard times.
Hi everyone, my name is Elena. I have been in Alexandria House for close to 6 years. My evening job is to be helping with dinner. I am so glad that I am part of dinner. Not only I have met great people, but I get to enjoy really delicious food every single night, and that I love. I enjoy it. Thank you for that. What has changed now? Not only we serve dinner in the Yellow House where families are still living, we take dinners to Silver Lake where the families are staying who were displaced. And in addition, we prepare takeout meals for our families in our neighborhood who are in need, as well as any extra for people living in the encampments. It makes me feel good about myself being in a place where we are helping women and their children with their needs. As a mom of 3 boys and cooking for my family, I can say that food can get expensive. By you providing food for Alexandria House, you are helping covering the cost so Alexandria House can help other families with other emergency needs. Also, you are helping the ladies not to focus to what to cook, but to concentrate for what is important for them. Once again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for what you're doing. This will not be possible without your help. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sunny Yanez, and I'm the Director of Permanent Housing. I work with our residents to obtain housing through Section 8 vouchers and affordable housing programs. I also follow up with families who recently moved to ensure an easy transition. My job is difficult even under normal circumstances, given the lack of affordable housing in Los Angeles, but since the pandemic happened, it has gotten much worse. Given the fact that so many city and county offices, including Housing Authority, have closed, with staff working from home, businesses have come to a standstill. These delays have created desperate situations. Some of our past residents have been given notice to move because owners are no longer taking Section 8. Also, all the families displaced by the fire have put in their Section 8 applications and now are just waiting. Still, I just can't give up. Part of our mission has always been to support women as they move from Alexandria House into permanent housing. So I will keep calling and emailing the Housing Authority and searching everywhere for apartments until every single family is in their own place.
Hi, my name is Valerie Johnson and I am the volunteer coordinator at Alexandria House. My position is mostly structured around working and interacting with the volunteers, but due to COVID-19, my responsibilities have slightly shifted. So nowadays, my duties are centered around grocery shopping for the houses, communicating with volunteers to schedule Top Chef, which, if you weren't aware of, have shifted from Monday through Thursday to 7 days a week. We have dinners all month, thanks to you guys. In addition, I coordinate any other virtual volunteer opportunities that we are offering. I would like to highlight one of our recent virtual volunteer opportunities. Alexandria House began working with Rig Fitness to help run workouts with the residents and past residents. So you're probably wondering, what is Rig Fitness? Well, In short, it is the premier nonprofit fitness organization created by the Ashley Shine. Before COVID, she would come to the house twice a week to hold fitness classes. It was a great getaway for the residents. It was a time for everyone to laugh together, to learn together, to work together. So knowing and understanding the importance of holistic health, we decided to continue the workouts virtually. Woo woo, AH Fit Women. So, to conclude, even under these new circumstances, volunteers continue to be an essential part of Alexandria House. We appreciate everyone who has reached out to offer support. Enjoy the rest of the program.
It is my great honor to introduce our next speaker, who truly embodies the idea of thinking globally and also acting locally. Rabbi Sharon Brous is a leading voice in reanimating religious life in America, working to develop a spiritual roadmap for soulful, multi-faith justice work in Los Angeles and around the country. She is the senior and founding rabbi of ICAR, which was started in 2004. Today, it is credited with sparking a rethinking of religious life and inspiring people of faith to reclaim a moral and prophetic voice. In 2013, she blessed President Obama and Vice President Biden at the inaugural National Prayer Service and Mayor Eric Garcetti at his inauguration in Los Angeles in 2017. Rabbi Brous and her congregation have volunteered and supported Alexandria House for many years in a variety of ways. One of the most special and deeply loved events is their Christmas morning blueberry pancakes, with lots of delicious treats and fun for the residents. I'm so honored to present Rabbi Sharon Brous.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Sharon Brous, and I'm so deeply honored to be with all of you today as we celebrate the extraordinary women who are at the heart of this extraordinary organization. I am the senior rabbi and founder of ICAR, a Jewish community that has a lot of ties to the Alexandria House, as many of our members have become volunteers and supporters of your organization. And I in particular want to start by lifting up one beloved member and friend, Barry Horowitz, who died just over a year ago. And who I know loved very much his time at the Alexandria House, where he would come every Christmas and make his famous blueberry pancakes. And I just recently heard that thanks to the incredible efforts of his son, Mark, you are now naming your new kitchen after Barry, and I'm so gratified and thrilled to hear that. I want to thank Judy and Pam for inviting me to be a part of this, and I hope that the relationship between our organizations only grows in the days ahead. And I want to wish congratulations to Kina K. Scott and to Shaka Khan. I wish we could all be together today, but in light of this time of isolation, I'm thrilled and grateful that we still get to find ways to connect with one another and connect with and support the amazing organizations whose work is literally life-sustaining all the time, and especially in this time. Today, I just wanted to take a few moments to share with you the story of one woman who appears in the Bible in the first book of Samuel. In fact, the fact that she's even mentioned at all is quite extraordinary. There are so many women in the ancient times whose stories just weren't written down or told at all, or they were told but not attributed or given any name. And there's so much for us to learn from Hannah's story, so I'm deeply grateful that we have the opportunity to lift her up today. Here's how the story goes. In the beginning of 1 Samuel, we learn about a man named Elkanah who has two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Hannah is in anguish because she cannot get pregnant, and Peninnah has many children and used to taunt her and tease her until Hannah is absolutely devastated. But she is a strong woman at the core, and she refuses to believe that the gates of heaven would be closed to her and those like her. And so when her family goes up to Shiloh in order to pray, she cries out in the sacred space from the depths of her being. The text says, in her wretchedness, she prayed to the Lord, weeping all the while. Eli, the priest, is there. He's the guardian of holy spaces. and he stares at her astonished. He's never seen anything like her before. And he accuses her of putting on some kind of drunken spectacle, of desecrating this holy site. And Hannah responds saying, "Don't you understand? I'm not drunk, I'm devastated, and I am bringing my pain to God." Eli's never seen heartache like that before. And he realizes that she's right, and he apologizes to her. And so she teaches him that no holy site can be devoid of the anguish of a woman's broken heart. Our rituals, our sacred spaces, our public spaces, she teaches, are empty and false if there's no room for honesty and spontaneity, even for desperation and for defiance. I want to invite you for a moment to imagine Hannah in our churches and synagogues, on our streets, in the halls of power today. Hannah would weep, and she would protest. She would shatter the gates of heaven. She would give us all permission to give voice to our deepest agonies. She wouldn't stand for the diminishing of sacred ritual into passive, scripted recitations. She wouldn't stand for the transformation of politics into the play space of dishonesty. This is a really good story that the Bible tells us. But what's even better is what the rabbis do with it about 1,000 years later. The rabbis say that while Hannah didn't know it at the time, when she cried out from the depths as she did, she redefined prayer for all time. That's what prayer is, they say. It's open-hearted and desperate and anguished. It's about holding God accountable, holding power accountable. It's about demanding justice, that is the height of spiritual wakefulness. This kind of dissent, rebellion, uprising is really central to biblical thinking. It seems really clear that as much as the life of faith is about obedience to God, it's also about living a legacy of willful defiance against power, against unjust systems and structures, even against the will of God. Today, I want to lift up that act of holy defiance, because in this time more than any other, in this time of tumult and uncertainty and heartache and upheaval, when a virus has turned our lives and the whole world upside down, I think we need these acts of holy defiance. This past week, we passed the tragic threshold of more than 100,000 people in this country now dead from this virus, which we know disproportionately targets Black people and other people of color and the poor. This pandemic hit in the midst of an era of resurgent racism and white supremacy, in a time of hatred and polarization and human cruelty, of environmental devastation and poverty. Hannah's act is the realization that the shape of tomorrow depends on the courage that we're able to exhibit today. And I think that reclaiming this piece of our legacy matters more than ever. As I watched the footage from Minneapolis this past week, after another senseless killing of another unarmed Black man, I have wondered, what will it take to change the norms of our society? How much suffering needs to happen before we demand collectively a different path for our nation? A few years ago, I was very blessed to be able to go on a trip to Liberia in West Africa to meet with the women who, after 14 years of brutal civil war, after watching their children and their parents murdered, after being stripped of their dignity and their voices, somehow found the strength to stand up and say, no more. And on this trip, I met extraordinary women, including Lema Gbowie, who's just a couple of years older than me, who in the year 2002, after a decade of civil war, with 4 hungry children and no home and no hope in a country that was just shattered by fighting all around, went to bed one night and had a dream. And in the dream, she heard a voice that said, gather the women and pray for peace. She woke up the next morning and she was driven by a mysterious sense of purpose. She posted signs all around Monrovia that asked the women to get together the very next morning in the marketplace and protest against all of the violence and the terror that was being inflicted against them, their bodies, and their people. At the break of dawn the next morning, she went into the marketplace and she found herself standing there alone. And she wondered if she had lost her mind. And then a couple of brave women started to trickle into the marketplace. And then more and more and more until thousands of women came into the market. And together the women lifted their voices and they said, "We want peace, no more war." The warlords and the government forces both could have killed them all in that moment. I've thought so many times about these women. Where did they find their courage? In fact, they told us that they had suffered so profoundly that they realized they had nothing left to lose. One of them said, "We were not afraid because we realized that either we would die from war or we would die trying to make peace." And so they found their strength together as sisters when they shared their stories of the horrors that had befallen their bodies and their loved ones. They felt the presence of God and sisterhood, and with that they were able to survive. And they won. Thousands of women returned day after day after day to this marketplace until the president of that country had to step down, and 40,000 rebels turned in their guns and grenades, and they held their first free election after the war, and a woman was elected president of Liberia. Every single movement for social change starts when one person takes one step. Every single movement of personal healing starts when one person takes one step. And I know that in this country too, there will come a time when so many people are so struck by the needless suffering in this country that we too will stand up. In this time of anguish that we're living in right now, in this time of cruel videos and hashtags, when we hear the terrible statistics of death and illness every day, when we see reports of all of this suffering, all of us are called to ask, what will we do? Will we turn away? Will we weep and say we wish that there was something that we could do? Or will we be like Hannah and like the women of Liberia? Who will we find the audacity to rise up and to demand that the policies that guide this country reflect our actual values? Will we affirm in our actions, in our giving, and with our hearts that there is nothing more precious or more valuable than human life, that decency and compassion and truth and humanity must lead? I love the story of Hannah because it is a reminder for us of what real courageous self-assertion actually looks like. And it occurs to me that a lot of people in this sacred place, in the Alexandria House, also have Hannah's heart strength and are guided by her courage. 200 families, 200 women have come through this place, arrived here with a fierce determination, driven by love, ready to fight for those they love, to struggle, to wrestle, to risk everything, and to change everything. And visionary leaders, Judy and your team, your supporters, have also lived into that spirit. You who have been called to lead by moral intuition, who've been fueled by the kind of courage that comes from the depths, the kind of courage that sparks social movements and makes change possible. I bless you all. I bless us all that in this time of upheaval, we're able to take Hannah as our inspiration. Take this inheritance of willful opposition that the world desperately needs right now, and that we use it to realize the kind of change that our world actually hungers for and that we so desperately need. I bless you all that you should stay healthy and stay safe, and most of all, stay brave, because on the other side of this thing, we are going to need so much courage and heart strength in order to build the world that we all want to live in. Thank you so much.
Alexandria House is able to do so much because we have many dedicated volunteers who partner with us to do so many different projects. Be Kind is one of those special groups that have shown creativity in their approach to service.
Hi, I'm Kristen Genovese.
And I'm Mariki Beach, and we are from Be Kind. Be Kind is a group of friends that has turned into a community who do dinners and put on concerts and in general just want to help out where we can, and we have been so completely honored and blessed to become part of the Alexandria House community.
Our favorite nights of the week have become our monthly dinners at Alexandria House, where we have the opportunity to get our friends and family in our community, which is mostly made up of young music industry professionals, and we come in and we make dinners for the women and children at Alexandria House. And for the past 2.5 years, it's given us the opportunity to get lots of people involved in volunteering and being part and giving back within the community. And we've seen that grow it tenfold. We've seen people come in for one night and then that they fall in love with the house and the experience of volunteering, and we see them become mentors. We see them go back to their companies and get the big corporations involved. We see resume help, and our newest project is a Be Kind buddy system, where we're setting up our volunteers with members of the Alexandria House community in the name of mental health and friendship, and making sure that we all have someone to look after and look after us during this time.
Yeah, we also put on an annual holiday benefit where we get a bunch of different incredible artists from mostly the Los Angeles area to jump up on stage and sing and perform to raise money for Alexandria House, because yeah, like Kristen said, we both see firsthand all of the incredible work that is done there, and not just for the women and children in the house, but for any person who walks through the Alexandria House doors. You never go to Alexandria House without leaving with your heart being filled up, and we really are so lucky to have you guys. So many friends of the Be Kind community have brought wonderful opportunities to Alexandria House, and we feel very honored that the benefit actually sort of domino affected out, and because of that and someone that came along to one of the benefits, there was someone significant who ended up doing a project with Alexandria House, and that's coming up next. But we would just like to thank everyone over at the house, and really you fill our hearts with joy, you inspire us, and you inspire everyone around us, so we are deeply grateful.
Thank you.
Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Or just make them drop dead, you a killer. Shall we with all my attention? I will. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions. That's all I plan to do.
My intentions are the same now as they were many years ago.
My intention is to help kids who are less fortunate. My intentions are to raise awareness for former foster youths.
What I intend to do is to give back.
My name is Judy Vaughn, and I'm founding director of Alexandria House. My intention is to speak truth to power, to speak about the injustices and the need for equity.
Thank you guys so much for having us, Quavo and I. It meant so much to us just being here. Thank you guys so much.
And this is Judy filming here at Alexandria House for our Women Speak event. And I just need to say thank you to Justin Bieber, Quavo, Miranda, Jack, Scooter Braun, and the whole amazing team for bringing such joy and excitement to us and the greenhouse just weeks before the fire. And thank you too so much to Kiana Kay and to Sharon for speaking truth to power today and really challenging all of us. My intention for the coming months is to continue to help create a beloved community that gives hope that we really can care and love each other, just like Kristen and Mariki expressed so beautifully in their video. My intention is also to reopen the greenhouse as quickly as possible. We miss you, greenhouse, and hopefully expand our space so we can do more for folks in need. And finally, my intention is to do everything I can to support an amazing staff as they ask questions, truly listen, and then respond to meet the needs of the individuals and families we serve. With me is one of those amazing staff people, and I'm very happy to introduce Michelle Tan, our Executive Director.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us remotely for our annual Women Speak event.
And so Michelle, I would ask you, what's your intentions for the upcoming months?
As most of you know, Los Angeles is facing an affordable housing crisis. Now more than ever, the pandemic has made us acutely aware of this issue. With that being said, my intention is to continue to be committed to work towards a time when there is ample affordable housing so the families Alexandria House serves, as well as our unhoused neighbors, can have a place they can call home, and Alexandria House can remain true to its mission of moving those without homes into permanent housing.
So I've had an opportunity to share some of my intentions. You heard Michelle's intentions. You met some of our staff today, and they're sharing with you what they hope to do to increase the work that we do and serve more families. But we cannot do this without your financial support. So this is, as we always have during Women Speak, what is called the pitch. We are hoping that you will make a donation to us at this time. I have to acknowledge that I'm asking this with all kinds of humility because we were just overwhelmed by your generosity after the fire. You really gave all of us hope in pretty scary and dismal times, so thank you for that. But I also know you understand that Women Speak is our major fundraiser for the year, and we really are asking for your support one more time. And thank you so much. At the end, Nancy will tell you some very simple ways on how to do it, but what we'd like to do is share with you 3 folks who are gonna let you know why they do donate to Alexandria House.
But before we hear from some of our supporters on how and why they support Alexandria House, Judy and I have a surprise for you that we would like to end with.
And all I have to say before this surprise is I know many of you have read Greg Boyle's Tattoos on the Heart, and you remember he writes, in really difficult times it's so important to find magic and miracles. Well, I have to tell you, this may not be magic what you're about to receive, but it really is a miracle it happened.
So with a shout out to Shaka Khan, we are grateful for your friendship and all you have offered the world over the years. Your visit to the house, when you listen so deeply to each woman's stories, thank you. We hope you are feeling better.
For you, Shaka Khan, what you tell me what you wanna do? Do you feel for me the way I feel for you? Shaka Khan, let me tell you what I wanna do. I wanna love you, wanna hug you, wanna squeeze you too. But let me take it in my arms, let me feel you with my charm, Shaka. Cause you know that I'm the one to keep you warm, Shaka. I make it more than just a physical dream. I wanna rock you, Shaka, baby, cause you make me wanna scream. Let me rock you, rock you.
And here are Mike and Ann, Alex and Jackie sharing why they donate.
Michael and I have been involved with Alexandria House for 20 years. We do Sunday afternoon teas, and after tea, Judy gives a tour of both of the houses.
In honor of Judy Vaughn and the staff who provide such loving care for the women and children at Alexandria House, we are contributing $15,000. Please join us in donating.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Johnson, and I support Alexandria House by donating 10% of not only my stimulus check, but any other extra money I get in, because I feel like as an alumni that I have a responsibility to support the programs and the projects of Alexandria House. So I'm hoping that about 49 more of us will get together and commit to maybe $10 a month as alumni.
Hi, my name is Alex Rosenberg, and I am 13 years old. In Judaism, there is the idea of Tikkun Olam, making the world a better place. When I visited Alexandria House in December of 2018, my aunt, Pam Hope, and I visited Alexandria House for Christmas. And seeing the children and their families opening presents, just so happy, really touched me. And so I knew that Alexandria House was doing Tikkun Olam. So in January, with my bar mitzvah money, I donated several times to them, small amounts each time, but even a small amount can help. When every donation adds up, it can not only help Alexandria House, but always family and children. Even as a 13-year-old, I can donate. And knowing that you are helping somebody is an amazing feeling. So please do donate, especially during these hard times.
Thank you for joining us today. We so appreciate you, and we thank you. We don't know what the future will bring, but we do know that we'll continue to provide services to those in need. With your help and other caring individuals, we're able to make a difference in the lives of so many. If you haven't donated yet, please do so now by visiting alexandriahouse.org/womenspeak. Remember, your donation of any amount enters you into the drawing for an amazing gift basket. The winners will be announced via email. Thanks again for joining us today, and we hope you'll share this inspiring program with others. Thank you so much for coming.